Welcome to the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio. From Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham. If you have a comment, email it to me, box13@greatdetectives.net. Follow us on Twitter at Radio Detectives and check us out on Instagram, instagram.com/greatdetectives. If you're enjoying the podcast, please follow us using your favorite podcast software. I do want to encourage you to check out our other podcast. In particular, I'm mentioning our World War II podcast, The war.greatdetectives.net. If you're interested in the history of World War II, we did this series a decade ago, but in it we went through the war from the pre-war era all the way through to VJ Day and beyond. And we used news stories, but also comedies, drama, and music to really get a feel of the times and what it was like to go through them. You can check out The War at thewar.greatdetectives.net and check out all of our podcasts at the Great Detectives homepage at greatdetectives.net. But now it is time for this week's episode of Bulldog Drummond. The original air date, September 17th, 1945, and the title is Death on the Diamond.
Out of the fog, out of the night, and into his American adventures comes Bulldog Drummond. And now, to tell us about our newest adventure, here is Bulldog Drummond.
I call this story Death on the Diamond. Our adventure began on a hot, late summer afternoon. Denny and I were out at the ballpark. The first of a crucial three-game series was being played between the Green Wings, the local team, and the visiting Blue Jays. The league pennant was at stake.
Oh, my word, Captain Drummond, that was quite a stroke.
Line drive, Denny. Look at that ball go.
Oh, dear, that man out there stopped it. Isn't that a pity?
Denny, that's our team, the Green Wings.
Oh, is that good?
Yes. Fortunately, that Blue Jay player was held to a single. But the Green Wings are still in trouble. The Blue Jays have the bases loaded now.
Yes, they do look kind of heavy.
Denny, when I say the bases are loaded, that means there's a Blue Jay player on each base.
Oh, I see. Then I suppose we really are in trouble.
Oh, well, it's not that hopeless. The Green Wings are taking Roberts out and putting Johnson in to pitch.
Oh, is that good, sir?
Let's hope so. Twister Johnson is the Green Wings' star pitcher. If he can get this last Blue Jay batter out, the day might be saved.
Oh, then I'm tooting for Johnson, sir.
Rooting, Denny.
Oh, very well, sir. Rooting.
And here's the first pitch.
Oh, my word, that was quite a line drive. Did you hear the crack of that bat, sir?
Denny, that wasn't only the bat you heard.
What do you mean, sir? Oh, Captain Drummond, look, Johnson, the pitcher. He's keeled over on his face.
Come on, Denny, hurry.
What's happened, sir? What's the matter with Johnson?
The Green Wings are in real trouble now, Denny. Johnson's been shot.
Mr. Johnson was a great guy. Why should anyone want to kill him?
That's what I intend to find out, Mr. Benson. Tell me, you've managed the Green Wings for many years. Johnson was a member of your team for a long time.
6 years.
Did he have any enemies among the other players?
He wasn't the kind of guy who had enemies.
Captain Drummond, maybe there was a woman in the case.
No, that's impossible. Johnson was happily married. Had a farm down in Pennsylvania. His wife and kids lived there.
If the Green Wings lose their next game to the Blue Jays, your pennant hopes are lost, right?
Do you suppose that has anything to do with Johnson's murder?
Yes.
Possibly, Denny. Did Johnson have any particular friend on the team?
Oh, his roommate Petey, the team mascot.
Oh, that's the little fellow who was in here before.
Yes. Petey and Johnson were great pals. Between seasons, Johnson used to take Petey down to his farm. They were like brothers.
Well, thank you, Mr. Benson. That'll be all for now.
Captain Drummond, if there's anything I can do...
Will you send Petey in now, please?
That's all.
It's a strange case, Captain Drummond. A pitcher shot to death in the presence of 30,000 baseball fans and no clue, no apparent motive.
Strange indeed. Denny, of course.
What is it, sir?
Of course. Johnson was shot in the back.
Well, is that of special significance?
Yes, it is, Denny. Johnson was nicknamed Twister because of his unique style of pitching. After throwing the ball, he had the habit of turning his body for a brief moment, completely away from the batter. Yes, certainly, that's it.
But I don't follow you.
We were completely off the track, Denny. That shot didn't come from the bleachers. It came directly from somewhere in the grandstand behind home plate. The killer timed the shot with a crack of the bat. When the bullet struck, Johnson had whirled completely around.
Oh, I see. But, Captain Drummond, how could a murderer in plain daylight, in the midst of a crowd of thousands, fire a gun undetected? Certainly, in the first place, he would have had to take careful aim in order to assure accuracy.
Yes, he certainly would, Denny. Come in.
Hi, I'm Petey. Mr. Benson said you wanted to see me.
Oh, yes. Denny, close the door.
Yes, sir.
Sit down, Petey.
Thanks.
I hear you and Johnson were close friends.
Twister was the best pal a guy ever had. Gee, Captain Drummond, why did they kill him? Why? He was such a good guy.
Yes, I know just how you feel.
Nah, nobody can know how I feel. Nobody knew Twister like I did.
I asked to see you, Petey, just because you did know Johnson so well, and because you two were so fond of each other. Now, you can be of real help to us. That is, if you want to see Johnson's murderer brought to justice.
Yeah, you bet I do. I'd give anything. Anything.
Good.
Well, what do you want me to do? Just say the word.
First, I want you to keep everything I say to you and everything we do confidential.
Sure.
All right. Now, our first job is to find out just how Johnson's murder was accomplished. And then we'll continue from there. We'll have to work fast. The Green Wings play the Blue Jays in Centerville tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. The team is making an 11:45 train tonight.
Well, that should give us enough time.
Time for what?
You'll see, Denny. Petey, I want you to meet Denny and me here at this ballpark at 9 tonight.
Okay.
In the Green Wings dugout.
Right. At 9 in the dugout.
Come on, Denny.
Where to, sir?
You and I are going out in search of a motive for murder.
Our story continues in just a moment. back to Bulldog Drummond and the story he called Death on a Diamond. In a stadium with thousands of fans as witnesses, a baseball pitcher has been mysteriously murdered. Captain Drummond and Denny have set out to solve this strange case. Now, in the dark of evening, they slowly walk along a deserted, unlit alley.
Oh, this alley, to say the least, sir, is eerie.
We're perfectly safe, Denny.
Just the same, I'd be happy to get out of here. It's so dark.
I'll admit the entrance to Monk Agnelli's place is far from inviting. However, Monk seems to like it this way. Here, here's the door. Monk's at home. Good evening, Monk.
Huh?
I said, good evening, Monk.
Oh, Captain Drummond, it's you. I didn't recognize you in the dark out here. Who's the guy with you?
This is Denny.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Hiya.
I want you to do me a favor, Monk.
Anything you say. You did me a turn once. Monk don't forget his friends. What do you want?
You get around among the boys.
Huh?
I'd like to find out about a wager, a bet.
What kind of bet?
Baseball.
Huh?
A lot of money on the pennant race this year, Monk?
Plenty. Why?
Any of the boys meddling in the league business?
Oh, no. Oh, they keep their hands off that stuff. They can't touch baseball. Game's as clean as a whistle. That's what I don't understand about this here Johnson guy getting bumped off.
What about bets against the Green Wings winning the pennant? Any especially big one?
Let's see. Yeah, one. The Rock laid off a pretty big one a couple of days ago. Why?
Who placed that bet?
I wouldn't know about that, Captain Drummond.
I see. Well, thanks, Monk. You've been of real help to me anyway.
Anytime for a pal.
Come on, Denny. Good night, Monk.
Night, Captain Drummond. So long, fella.
Yes, good night, sir.
Well, Denny, now we have our motive.
Do you think that Monk person knows who made that wager?
Most likely. There's no doubt in my mind now that Johnson was killed because someone was afraid he might have saved today's game for the Green Wings. The murderer was waiting developments during the play of the game and then struck at the crucial moment.
Then Johnson's death wasn't planned beforehand?
Correct. But the way things stood, his fate was sealed the minute he stepped into the pitcher's box. Now, let me see. 10 to 9 now. That'll give me just about enough time.
Time for what, sir?
I have a little errand to do, Denny. I want you to meet Petey in the ballpark as arranged. I may be a few minutes late.
But frankly, sir, I'm puzzled. Would you mind telling me what you and Petey and I are going to do in that stadium in the dark of night?
Denny, we're going to that stadium in search of a clue. And perhaps if we're lucky, to study a method of murder.
Oh, my word, it's frightening in this stadium. I wish Captain Drummond would hurry. What time is it now, Petey?
It's 5 to 10. Maybe he isn't coming.
Oh, he'll be here.
Denny?
Well, I hope...
Petey?
Hey, I thought you'd never get here.
Sorry to have kept you waiting. I was detained. But let's not lose any more time. You have a train to make, Petey.
Yeah, we better hurry.
All right, come with me.
Where to now, sir?
Right over here to the pitcher's box.
Well, what do you expect to find there?
Yes, there's nothing there. We covered the entire field this afternoon.
So we did, Denny. But let's see what we can find in the moonlight. Here we are. Now, you two stand back.
I don't get it.
Stand back, please.
Okay.
Very well, sir.
Now, let's see. Twister Johnson was standing right about here when he started his throw. He raised his arm.
Oh, Captain Drummond.
Hey, he was shot.
Captain Drummond.
Denny,
Captain
stay back.
Drummond. But,
Stay back. I'm all right. I'll crawl over to you.
What?
Well, here, sir, I'll help you up.
I'm all right. Come on, we've got to work fast. Petey, you stay here. Keep your eyes open. If you see anyone, call out. We'll be up in the grandstand. Come on, Denny. Follow me. Careful now, Denny. Quite a fall from this grandstand roof.
Yes, I'll be quite happy to get my feet back on terra firma again.
Well, this won't take long. It should be in this vicinity. There's the pitcher's box down in front of us. Direct your searchlight over this way.
Yes, sir. Captain Drummond.
Yes. Well, Denny, there it is.
A pistol.
Quite a neat setup, too,
It's braced in the rain pipe.
And aimed straight for the pitcher's box.
Look at this wire, sir. It's attached to the trigger. And these small electric batteries. And this wire leading away.
This weapon has been rigged up to fire by remote control. Well, Denny, now that we have our method of murder solved, the next step is to find our murderer.
By tracing this wire to the source of control?
No. That'll take too long. By the time we accomplish that, another murder might take place.
Another murder?
Yes, and it's up to us to forestall it.
No, but how, sir, and where?
Denny, I've reserved a compartment for us aboard the train that's taking the Green Wings to Centerville. And that's why we came along, Mr. Benson. To try and prevent another murder.
Captain Drummond, what makes you so sure there'll be another murder?
Because someone will stop at nothing to make certain that the Green Wings will lose the league pennant race.
Mr. Benson, your team is up against a vicious, invisible killer.
And perhaps we should call tomorrow's game off. I certainly don't want today's tragedy repeated.
Oh, I'm afraid that'd let the killer off with a successful murder. Besides, I believe you owe tomorrow's game to thousands of baseball fans.
Yes, I guess you're right. We'll play tomorrow as planned.
Good. Who's pitching tomorrow's game?
Ted Wilson, why?
He's probably the most likely victim.
Right, Denny. Where's Wilson now?
I just left him and his wife Rita a few minutes ago. They're in their compartment, number 9. It's 2 doors down from here.
Well, Denny and I'd like to have a little talk with Ted Wilson. We'll see you later.
I'll be waiting here.
You know, I shouldn't like to be in Mr. Wilson's shoes tomorrow.
It isn't an enviable position, Denny. Now, be careful what you say. Here's his compartment, number 9.
Yes?
Mrs. Wilson,
Yes?
I'm Captain Drummond.
Oh, Captain Drummond, I'm so glad you're here.
Denny and I would like to have a talk with your husband.
Come in, please. Ted, it's Captain Drummond.
Good evening, Mr. Wilson.
Hello, Drummond.
You know Denny, Wilson?
Yeah.
Captain Drummond, Ted is going to pitch tomorrow's game.
So I hear.
Please persuade him not to. Please, I begged him, but he won't listen to me.
Cut it out, Rita.
Captain Drummond, he'll be killed just like Johnson. I know it.
I said cut it.
Don't worry, Mrs. Wilson. Nothing's going to happen to your husband.
Wilson, we're here to help you in every way possible.
I don't need help. Nothing's going to happen to me. Now get out of here. Let me alone, all of you.
Don't mind Ted, gentlemen. He's upset.
Yes, we understand.
I said get out.
Come on, Denny.
Just a minute, Captain Drummond. I'll be right back, Ted.
Make it snappy.
I'll only be a minute, dear. He's very upset. He's not himself. Captain Drummond, I must talk to you.
Yes, of course.
Captain Drummond, I'm nearly frantic. I'm so afraid for Ted. If anything should happen to him, I don't know what I'd do. I love him so, Captain Drummond. Something has got to be done.
No, Mrs. Wilson. Every precaution will be taken to protect your husband's life.
But can't they postpone the game until they're sure the murderer is caught?
No, I'm afraid not. Now, my advice to you is to go back to your compartment and get a good night's sleep.
But tomorrow...
We'll take care of that when it comes. Now, go ahead.
All right. Good night.
Good night, Mrs. Wilson.
Good night, and don't worry. Come on, Denny. I want to have a few more words with Benson before we turn in.
You know, sir, I feel sorry for Mrs. Wilson. Living in terror that way and fearful that death will strike her.
Denny, follow me.
Oh, look, it's Mrs. Wilson.
Captain Drummond, Captain Drummond.
Mrs. Wilson, what? Oh. Denny, look in that compartment.
Oh, sir. What happened?
Wilson has been murdered, Mr. Benson. Stabbed to death.
Captain Drummond, do you suppose there'll be another murder today in this baseball park?
Well, it's more than likely there'll be an attempted one.
Oh, dear, I hope we can intercept it.
Well, the game's about to begin. Out. There go the Blue Jays out of the field.
You know, sir, I still can't comprehend how Wilson's murder was accomplished. He wasn't alone in his compartment for more than a few minutes.
Obviously, the murderer used split-second timing.
But if he entered the compartment from the outside, I would surely have seen him. All during our conversation with Mrs. Wilson in the train corridor, I was facing in that direction.
Yes, I know.
And the compartment window was locked from the inside.
Right.
Then how was it accomplished?
Frankly, Denny, I'm not sure. But since last night, several things have occurred to me. Denny, I think we slipped up.
Yes, how, sir?
Oh, the game's on. There's Reynolds at bat for the Green Wings. Now, anything may happen, Denny. Keep your eyes open.
Oh, I will, sir. You know, Captain Drummond, I admire the spirit of those baseball players in that game today. That's real courage.
And sportsmanship. Come what may, they're not letting their fans down.
My word, Reynolds. Oh, look. Reynolds certainly struck that ball.
Looks like a homer for the Green Wings. Yes, it is. There it goes into the left field stand.
Captain Drummond, look, Reynolds toppled over out there.
Come on, out on the diamond.
Oh, that killer is struck again.
Hurry, Denny, this way.
Reynolds is lying so still, we're too late.
Perhaps we'll see. There's Benson. Pardon me. Let me through, please. Pardon me.
All right, men. Back to the dugout. Reynolds will be all right. The game will continue in 10 minutes.
But Reynolds isn't dead, sir.
Here. A couple of you fellas, help carry him off. Okay. Easy now. Take him to the side gate. There'll be an ambulance there.
Mr. Benson, will he live?
Oh, the doc said he'll be okay. We're taking him to a hospital. Certainly had a horrible scare, Captain Drummond. We all thought it was another one of those murders.
Just what happened to Reynolds?
The doc said it was heat prostration.
Heat prostration.
That's what the doc said. Probably aggravated by the jitters. The whole team's got him, including me. Oh, thank goodness it isn't what we thought.
Heat prostration.
Huh?
Nothing.
Well, I guess I'll be getting back to the dugout. You coming?
We'll be there shortly.
Okay.
Come on, Denny.
Where to now, sir?
The Green Wings locker room.
Locker room?
Did you notice Reynolds, Denny?
Well, not too closely, sir.
Heat prostration is commonly accompanied by excess perspiration. Reynolds wasn't perspiring at all.
Well, that's strange.
Yes, Denny. A strange attempt at murder.
Back to the climax of our story in just a moment. Back to Bulldog Drummond. 2 murders and a near fatality have plagued the Green Wings baseball team. In pursuit of a solution to the identity of the mysterious killer, Drummond and Denny alone searched the Green Wings locker room.
Denny,
Yes, Captain Drummond.
look here. I found it in this locker.
But, sir, that's simply a bottle of rubbing alcohol. Plainly labeled.
Does this smell like alcohol to you, Denny?
Well, no, it doesn't, sir.
It's a poison.
Poison?
Reynolds didn't faint from prostration. He was almost asphyxiated. This liquid with which he was rubbed down before he went out on the field becomes effective as the body generates heat and stops perspiration.
Oh, what an insidious plan. Whose locker is this?
Daniels, the pitcher's.
Then he's the murderer.
No, Denny, no. That's what someone would like us to believe. This bottle was planted here for that purpose. Come on, we're wasting precious time talking. We've got to get out in that ball field before the game resumes. For all we know, the entire team may have been rubbed down with this poison. Reynolds was lucky. It might be fatal to the next victim. Down, Denny.
Yes, sir.
Stay down.
He's the killer.
Quick, around this locker. Quick.
There's Captain Drummond.
I'm all right. That was close.
You could only see who it is.
We'll soon find out. We're lucky enough to get out of here alive. Now, listen, Denny. We'll try to make it to the door. This time, follow right after me. We're going to make a dash to that next line of lockers. Ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Let's go.
We made it so far. What now?
Wait.
But we'd better hurry.
Denny, I believe our mysterious assailant has run out of ammunition. Quick now, follow me to the door. Now, Denny. We've caught the killer in his own trap. He's someplace in this locker room. The windows are barred, and this door is the only exit.
What was that, sir?
The murderer closing the door of doom on himself.
But, sir, hadn't we better get out on the field before the game commences?
It won't be necessary now. Gunshots solved that problem for us.
Captain Drummond, what was the shooting about? What happened?
For a while, Mr. Benson, Denny and I were playing clay pigeons for the killer.
The killer? Where is he?
In this locker room?
Here?
Yes. I'll introduce you to him in a moment. First, order your men to the showers immediately.
What?
Reynolds was rubbed down with a poison substituted for alcohol. The same thing may have been done to your other players. And tell them to walk slowly, not exert themselves.
Joe, quick, order the boys to the showers. Okay. Tell them to take it easy. Now, Captain Drummond, what about the killer?
Follow me.
Say, what is this? Captain Drummond, why are you opening those locker doors? What is this, a game of hide and seek?
Yes, in a fashion.
What do you expect to find in those lockers?
Benson, I promised to introduce you to the killer.
Yes, but I...
And there you are, Mr. Benson. As I told you, in a locker.
Petey.
Yes, it's Petey, sir.
All right, come out. No tricks.
Okay.
You almost got away with it, didn't you, Petey?
Yeah, and I would have if you two didn't stick your busy noses in.
Sorry. But murder is our business.
I can't believe it.
And this isn't all, Mr. Benson.
What do you mean?
Here's another surprise coming now.
Oh, the commissioner told me to deliver her to you personally, Captain Drummond.
Rita Wilson.
My thanks to the commissioner, officer.
Yeah, we nabbed her just as she was getting on the train.
Rita, you got me into this mess. You
I
dirty...
don't know what this is all about. I demand to see a lawyer.
Why, you
Shut up, both of you.
Wilson, I doubt if a lawyer will be able to do you any good in the state's case against you and Petey for murder. So you see, Denny, we slipped up when we failed to inspect that large trunk in the Wilson's train compartment. Petey was hiding in that trunk. For a while, his small stature was an advantage to him in the game of murder, but he overplayed that advantage when he hid in the locker.
Then he and Rita Wilson were in cahoots all the time?
Yes, along with Ted Wilson.
Ted Wilson? But Petey killed him. Why?
Because he balked at murder. He was probably willing enough to throw a game here and there to make sure that he and Rita and Petey won the huge wager they'd made. But when it came to killing, he declared himself out. Then his partners in crime became wary of him. They decided it was best to eliminate Ted and split the winnings two ways.
Well, anyway, sir, now Rita and Petey will pay for their horrible deeds.
Yes, Denny, there's no doubt about it. When justice has 3 strikes on you, you're out.
And now, here is Bulldog Drummond to tell us about next week's story.
An automobile going at terrific speed crashes into a false barricade on a highway, and the driver is killed. Apparently, by a knife hurled from the roadside. We encounter 2 more murdered people. One, a girl who has been strangled. And Denny and I discover that enemy agents are involved in a plot to jeopardize our national security. I call the story Escape into Death. Be sure to listen, won't you?
And so into the night walks Bulldog Drummond, seeking new adventure and excitement. The next adventure with Bulldog Drummond will be heard over most of these stations next week at the same time. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
The Blue Jays became a major league team in 1977 in Toronto. But here it's a fictitious Blue Jays. As for the Green Wings, I suspect as this was produced in New York, this was inspired by the Rochester Red Wings, a minor league club that's been around since 1899, currently the AAA affiliate of the Washington Nationals. That said, this was one of the most bonkers criminal plans we've heard. I don't even think the guy who was okay with throwing games but not murder was doing so out of principle. I think he was balking because it was just so crazy. For one thing, they rig up this sort of Rube Goldberg machine, and it's not planned as to who they're going to shoot, but they aim it at the pitcher's mound just in case. Certainly, there are instances where shooting the pitcher might improve your odds of winning the game, but it's not really a great guarantee. It's a funny old game. Back in Babe Ruth's pitching days, he hit the first batter of the game as the starting pitcher. He got into an argument with the umpire, and he got thrown out of the game, and he was one of the best pitchers in the league. He got replaced by a guy most people haven't heard of, Ernie Shore. Shore threw 5 warm-up pitches, and then they caught the runner who got hit stealing, and then Shore retired everybody else in order. All of that to say, you shoot the pitcher, it's very well possible they could bring somebody else in. They come in and get out of the inning, and you've got yourself implicated in a murder and have achieved nothing. Because there is no rule in baseball that if you shoot the pitcher, you win the game. And why exactly did the remote-controlled device fire when Bulldog Drummond was on the mound? Because then, particularly in an empty stadium, in a full stadium, I could suspend disbelief to believe you might get away with this. But they revealed the location of the device. And then there's mass murdering all of the Green Wings with a poisonous rub-down. I mean, how much did you bet on this spin-it race? So not a bad episode, but really a bit of an over-the-top plan by the criminals here. All right, well, listener comments and feedback. And we have an email from Russ who writes, "Hey Adam, I hope you enjoyed your vacation. It's always good to take time off every now and then, especially from all the recording and editing you have to do in order to release the episodes in a timely manner. Thank you for releasing the encore specials. They kept me entertained while you were away. I wanted to comment on the Bulldog Drummond episode, Help Wanted. It reminded me of the TV series Quincy M.E. in Season 2, Episode 7, titled Has Anybody Here Seen Quincy? Jack Klugman refused to be in the episode due to his dislike of the script. The plot involved a body arriving at the morgue that was still alive. As a result, the producers temporarily replaced Jack Klugman with actor Yuki Shimoda, who played the more likable character, Dr. Hero. I can't say I blame Jack for bowing out. I didn't particularly care for the episode myself. Having said that, when Denny replaced Captain Drummond in Help Wanted, it gave the sidekick an opportunity to shine. It also helped the audience gain a greater appreciation for the main character during his absence. Denny did a fantastic job, but I felt something was definitely missing without Bulldog Drummond. He's the glue that holds everything together. Well, thank you so much, Russ. Appreciate the email. And I did see that episode, and I, too, can understand Klugman's decision not to do the episode. Even though, yeah, you can understand the producer as well being like, hey, we've commissioned this and we decided, and, the personalities and egos that get involved. But the episode was really kind of a sort of day in the life of your coroner sort of story. And you not only had the body arriving at the morgue, you had like 3 or 4 little problems. It's the type of episode that could work in a lot of medical dramas. But that wasn't Quincy. And I think Klugman just took a look at it and is like, okay, this is not what people tune into Quincy for. They tune into Quincy for a mystery. And even though it was season 2, technically the way they measure the release, essentially season 1 and season 2 were in the same television season. For the first half of the season, they did the mystery wheel movie format, and then they switched to self-contained hour. So this was the first year the show was on the air. So if you're Jack Klugman, you're kind of like, I don't want to muddy what this show is going to be about and how it's defined in the eyes of the viewing public. Though, thankfully, it didn't cause too much of a problem in that regard. And I think the series, from the episodes I've seen so far watching season 3, really started to get defined in that second year on the air. And then we turned to Good Pods, where Alexis gave a 5-star review to Help Wanted and had a couple of questions on it. I'm interested to know if this script was created purposely to give the main character a holiday or adapted at short notice due to unexplained absence. Regarding insulin, was it the practice in the 40s to put in the arm, as modern usage of insulin injectors seems to be focused on the stomach area? Is this a case of medication changing over the last 80 years, or the writers not doing enough research? So let me take the second question first, and just go ahead and say this should not constitute medical advice. What I found on the internet is that technically you can actually inject insulin into your arm. According to Healthline.com, the abdomen is the preferred injection site, but where you inject may vary depending on the delivery method that you use. Plus, you don't want to be injecting the exact same place every single time, because that can lead to some complications they warn about. So you might inject to your abdomen one time and then go in and inject to your arm the next. Or you might just inject at different points along your abdomen. There are ways, from what I can see online, that this would really vary. So we haven't gotten to the point, even in our modern times, where the arm is never used for insulin injection. So I can't say that the writers made a mistake. It seems pretty plausible that the arm was being used in 1945. So I can't ding them on that unless someone's like a medical historian and they have information that only the stomach was being used back then. And again, if you are a diabetic, follow the advice of your physician. This is just general information I found online. As to the second question, I can't say for certain. I did look into newspaper listings, and there was a newspaper story that listed this episode as a case solved by Captain Drummond and Denny, but also one, I think on the same day, that listed it as by Denny alone. Now, it could be that there was a late change that the newspaper with Drummond and Denny missed, or it could be that the writer of the article took the press release and wrote it up into a story, just kind of habitually wrote it as Drummond and Denny because they were doing that with all sorts of logs. I couldn't find any specific information as to the absence. I kind of lean towards it having been written the way it was, because it's just kind of hard to imagine what the script would have been like, or even why we would have called it Help Wanted, which was the title listed, if Denny wasn't hiring an assistant. But the search that Alexis sent me on yielded some additional fruit that I have to share with you. And that is that I found an article in the Cleveland Plain Dealer from August 8th, 1945, in which Robert Steffen just decided to do an article summarizing various things he heard on radio. Finally, I bumped squarely into Bulldog Drummond and his faithful Denny going about the exciting business of running down 2 more Nazi agents. Denny asked the questions around which the dialogue is built, with Drummond explaining the procedures of capture. I find Drummond an amusing sleuth. Wednesday night, he disdained using firearms, but he hurled a cat at one of his Nazi foes and then proceeded to clip the second one on the jaw. Well, to be fair, I don't see any inconsistency, because Bulldog Drummond was not expressing an opinion about violence, but just about the use of firearms. So, cats aren't firearms. So, that resolves that issue. Although, if you are a feline and you're around Bulldog Drummond, you may want to stay away if you don't want to get pulled into the middle of something. That's all I'm saying. All right, well, now it is time to thank our Patreon supporter of the day, and I want to go ahead and thank Liz. Liz has been one of our Patreon supporters since December 2023, currently supporting the podcast at the rookie level of $2 or more per month. Thank you so much for your support, Liz. And that will actually do it for today. If you're enjoying the podcast, please follow us using your favorite podcast software. And if you're enjoying the podcast on YouTube, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and mark the notification bell. We'll be back next Tuesday with another episode of Bulldog Drummond, but join us back here tomorrow for Broadway's My Beat, where...
Mind if I see it?
No harm. I've already sold it to the news. Here, look at it, Danny. Note the delicate play of light and shadow, the exquisite...
This guy looks happy. I never seen anybody look that happy.
Because Capek took it at the moment of Jimmy Dorn's greatest joy, the supreme ecstasy of winning $17,000.
Yeah, to each his own. How did you get it when no one else could?
The famous Capek tact. It cost me $50 to arrange it, but the news paid me twice that.
That much, huh?
When Mr. Dorn committed suicide, it raised the price. You see, in the newspaper game, one must know.
Excuse me, Quebec. Danny Clover, give me the dope on a suicide name of Jimmy Dorn. Yeah, I know it's not my department.
I hope you'll be with us then. In the meantime, send your comments to box13@greatdetectives.net. Follow us on Twitter at Radio Detectives, and check us out on Instagram. Instagram.com/greatdetectives. From Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off.